Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me right here on Speak English with Mince. Of course, I am Mince. It's time for lesson 1 and for those car lovers out there. Even if you don't have a car, it's good to keep all the information we have for you in mind. Today we are going to talk about car maintenance. Maintenance basically means to care for something. So, car care in easier words would be today's topic. So, how well do you maintain your car? As for me, I was terrible in maintaining my car. I have had my current car for about 6 years now. And I don't have that many kilometers on it. Meaning I didn't travel that many kilometers. But things started to go wrong about a year ago. And from then on, I've just come across many problems with my car. It just goes to show how well or how I didn't take care of my car. I had problems with the engine oil. Anyhow, I had a lot of problems with my car. But, maintaining your car may sound difficult, but it isn't as hard. It's quite easy, as long as you keep the basics in mind. So a few basic maintenance tips would be, for example, checking your wheels and tires. It's very easy. Check the tire pressure in your tires. Let's say every 8,000 kilometers or even 6,000 kilometers. Check your tires and wheels. And remember to rotate them. It's very important. Check your tire pressure regularly. And clean brake dust off regularly as well. That's very important to do that. What else? Your engine is very important, so check your engine and your engine oil level. Also your timing belt every 40,000 kilometers, okay? And when it comes to engine oil, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. All you to do is open it up and check how much engine oil you have left in your engine. Way too much or way too low is not good. So keep that in mind. And coolant level. Remember to wait until your car or engine is cooled off because you don't want to hurt yourself. Now, remember, it's just as easy as checking your engine oil level. Check your battery terminals and lights. And always keep an eye on the warning signals that pop up from time to time. If there needs to be something taken care of, okay? So, these are just a few basic maintenance tips, things you want to keep in mind. But when it comes to having a conversation about car maintenance, let's check out what we can actually talk about. Here is today's Real Talk conversation.
Peter, I'm thinking about buying a car.
Oh, that sounds nice. But Rachel, have you thought about all the maintenance costs and tax and things like that? It could all really pile up pretty quickly.
Oh, really? Does it take a lot to maintain your car?
It depends really. If you buy a brand new car, that's what I did when I came to Korea. They kind of have like free yearly servicing.
Oh.
So that means that you don't have to worry about it for about 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
And usually there aren't too many things to maintain with a new car.
That's true.
Well, fingers crossed, touch wood, it doesn't go wrong.
Right.
So there's not too many repair fees or anything like that. And they top up your fluids every year.
Oh, okay. What else do they do? Do they check like the air pressure in your tires?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something you got to be careful in Korea, because in the winter and summer, the temperature change is so huge that I
Right.
think your tires, they get a lot flatter in the winter, so you need to fill them up.
That's true. I was only thinking about going from point A to point B. I didn't realize that it would take so much to maintain a car. Do you get frequent car washes though? Because I feel like cars here get dirty really quickly.
Sure, especially with all the dust and stuff from China.
Right.
If it rains as well one time, then your car is caked in like this dust.
Oh.
And I think people in Korea get their cars washed a lot more often than in the UK.
They're all clean here. You
Yeah.
rarely see a dirty car.
I know, I feel embarrassed to take my car out if it's dirty. But they've got a great scheme here. Like when you fill up with fuel at the
Okay.
garage, at the petrol station, what you call a gas
Gas
station in the
station?
States, if you fill up above a certain amount, you either get a free car wash or a heavily discounted one, about 1,000 won.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And speaking of rain, when the season changes, like for the winter time, do you have to get snow tires or put snow chains on your tires, or what do you do?
It's advisable if you're going to drive in those bad weather conditions. Usually what I do is I just avoid the roads completely. I take public transport when it snows. But many people have these huge snow chains.
Okay.
I just don't understand how to fit them onto my wheels.
That's true. I'm just going to get a 4-wheel drive that has all the necessities, that have everything there that I don't have to do anything to really maintain my car.
Just point and drive.
Exactly.
In today's Real Talk conversation, we had Peter and Rachel talking about car maintenance and also specifically about maybe the cost. When it comes to repairing your car or taking care of your car, Rachel even mentioned something about snow tires, right? Or even snow chains for your tires, especially in the winter season. And let's check out what else they mentioned in today's conversation. First of all, Rachel began by saying, Peter, I'm thinking about, meaning she is considering. I'm thinking about buying a car. Maybe she is going to get a new car. I need to buy a new car too. Anyhow, Peter says, that sounds nice. But have you thought about all the maintenance, cost, and tax? That's right. These are a few things we cannot forget or leave out when purchasing a car. You don't just buy a car, but you have to worry about the cost and taxes as well. So maintenance, car maintenance. We mentioned an easy word for maintenance is care, car care. Maintenance cost, meaning how much money it costs to maintain a car, and as well as tax. And then he says it can all pile up pretty quickly. That's our pattern for today. Now, pile up. What does that mean? You can have a pile of books, which means one book on top of another. You can pile books up, meaning to put one book on top of the other. Okay? So you can make a pile of books. But when you say that something piles up, it means to add up, accumulate, in other words. So here's saying it can all pile up pretty quickly. Here's talking about cost, piling up, meaning it can add up to a large amount of money. It could cost you a lot of money. Now Rachel says, oh really? Does it take a lot to maintain a car? Take a lot. We will take a look at it later on. It's one of our patterns as well. Basically, she's saying, well, Do you have to do a lot to maintain a car? Okay, well, he says it depends really. It depends on the situation. The answer could be a yes. It could be also be a no. It depends. If you buy a brand new car, in this case, they kind of have a free yearly servicing. Okay? So they take care of your car on an annual basis. So that means you don't have to worry about it for about 4 or 5 years. 4 or 5 years. I'm not so sure about that. I believe in some cases it could be 4 to 5 years. But I think in most cases it may be 3 years. Okay? For example, if you buy a brand new car, they will cover everything for you for the first 3 years or for a certain number of kilometers, miles you have on the car. So that's what he's talking about. It depends, okay? If you buy a brand new car, this is just a way of stressing that it is really, really new, brand new car. All right? Rachel seems to understand. And then Peter explains more. He says, and usually there are not too many things to maintain with a new car. Now, he's talking about if you purchase a new car, there are not too many repair fees. Okay? And if you buy a new car and they top up your fluids every year. Now, top up means to add something, especially to increase the level of something to the level that you need or desire. Okay? So, for example, in this case, here's talking about how it will not cost you a lot of money if you buy a new car. And in that case, they top up your fluids every year. Fluids, in this case, we are talking about gasoline, okay? Gas for your car. So he's saying by saving money, by not taking your car in for repairs, you can save up that money to fill up the car, okay? You can save up that money and use it for gas, okay? Top up your fluids every year. Now, Rachel says, what else do they do? Do they check the air pressure in your tires? You can shorten that and say, do they check the tire pressure? Okay? Tire pressure is the pressure in your tires. Okay? So you can say, do they check the air pressure in your tires? Or do they check the tire pressure for you? For example. And then he said, absolutely, meaning, oh, most definitely, of course, yes, of course. And that's something you have got to be careful about, okay? You have to be careful about that. Where? In Korea. Why? Because in the winter and summer, the temperature change, okay? The temperature gap is so huge, meaning it's very big. So when we talk about temperature change or temperature difference or temperature gap, we are talking about the very hot temperatures and very cold temperatures. So if you say the temperature change or temperature gap is big, we are talking about very, very far temperatures. Very hot temperatures and very cold temperatures. So in Korea, winters are very cold and summers are very, very hot. So the temperature change is huge. Your tires get a lot flatter in the winter, so you need to fill them up. Then, in this case, we are referring to the tires for your car. Okay? So he's saying your tires get a lot flatter. Flatter meaning flat. Flat. They tend to get flatter when in the winter. So you need to fill them up with air. Okay, that's how much tire pressure is important. You must check the pressure in your tires on a regular basis. And Rachel says, I didn't realize that it takes so much to maintain a car. That's our patterns, as I mentioned a while back. Take something to do something. It means that in the situation, something is required. Something is needed in order to fulfill a task or do something. So you can say, it takes a lot of money to travel. It means you need money in order to travel. Okay? We will practice that pattern later on. And then she asked, do you get frequent car washes though? Because I feel like cars here get dirty really quickly. Okay, now you can actually wash your car yourself. But in this case, she says, do you get car washes? Why? Because usually somebody else does it for you. So you to get a car, wash it. Or you can go to a car wash, a place that washes your car. So do you get frequent car washes? Do you go to the car wash frequently? Do you go there often? Because I see many dirty cars. Cars get dirty quickly in Korea. Peter says, sure, especially with all the dust from China. We are talking about yellow sand, yellow dust, flying in from China. If it rains, then your car is caked in with dust. Now, caked in or caked with something. If they say that something is caked with something, you are saying that it is covered with something, covered with a thick layer of some substances, such as dirt, or even dust, or even mud. So in this case, he says, with all the dust from China, and if it rains, then your car is caked in with dust. It's caked with dust, meaning it's all covered with a thick layer of dust. And I think people in Korea get their cars washed a lot more often than in the UK, making comparison, right? Now, Rachel says, you rarely see a dirty car in Korea. She's just saying in Korea, you rarely see a dirty car. It's not easy to come across a dirty car. In other words, she's just saying most cars are so clean. You rarely see a dirty car. I know, I feel embarrassed to take my car out because it's dirty. So I guess he doesn't get his car washed very often. He says, here, we are talking about Korea. When you fill up with the fuel or fill up with gas, or this part can actually be omitted. Fill up basically means to fill the car with gasoline or gas, for example, okay? Fill it up, full tank, at the garage, at the petrol station. When you call the gas station in the States, okay, so he's saying we call it a gas station, but in the UK, it's also called a garage or a petrol station. These three all mean the same thing. It's where you go to get gas to fill up the car. He says you either get a free car wash, a free one, where you're not charged or a heavily discounted one. So let's take a look at this. To make the sentence really short, here's a saying here in Korea. If you go to the gas station and fill up your tank, okay, to ask for a full tank, what they do is they give you a free car wash or they give you a big discounted one. One meaning car wash where you get a huge discount and you only have to pay a little bit of money for it. And she says, that's awesome. That's wonderful. Brilliant. Speaking of rain, since we're talking about rain when the seasons changed, do you have to get snow tires or put snow change on your tires? And she asked, what do you do? Now Rachel is asking Peter what he does. He says it's advisable. Advisable meaning that is recommendable. It's wise to do it. I would advise you to. In other words, it's advisable if you are going to drive in bad weather conditions. So we're talking about snowy weather or even rainy weather. Those are bad weather conditions. Okay, so if you are going to drive in bad weather or in bad weather conditions, it's advisable that you put on snow tires or snow chains. Usually what I do is, he's talking about himself. What I do is avoid the roads completely, meaning 100%. He does not drive his car in bad weather conditions. He says, I take public transport when it snows. Okay? He says, I just don't understand how to fit them onto my wheels. Then we are talking about snow chains or even snow tires. So here's saying that he doesn't know how to put the snow chains on or even change the tires to snow tires. He cannot do it on his own. He says, I just don't understand how to do it. Now Rachel says, right, that's true, meaning it's difficult. It's not easy, right? I'm just going to get a four-wheel drive so that I don't have to do anything to maintain my car. Let's take a look at four-wheel drive though. This may sound very familiar. Okay, four-wheel drive is called in many other names. A four-wheel drive, basically a car that drives on four wheels. All four wheels, front and rear wheels. And then Peter says, just point and drive. Meaning, think of it as an easy task. Just decide where you want to go and drive. And that brings us to an end of the conversation. Take a listen one more time.
Peter, I'm thinking about buying a car.
Oh, that sounds nice. But Rachel, have you thought about all the maintenance costs and tax and things like that? It could all really pile up pretty quickly.
Oh, really? Does it take a lot to maintain your car?
It depends really. If you buy a brand new car, that's what I did when I came to Korea. They kind of have like free yearly servicing.
Oh.
So that means that you don't have to worry about it for about 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
And usually there aren't too many things to maintain with a new car.
That's true.
Well, fingers crossed, touch wood, it doesn't go wrong.
Right.
So there's not too many repair fees or anything like that. And they top up your fluids every year.
Oh, okay. What else do they do? Do they check like the air pressure in your tires?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something you got to be careful in Korea because in the winter and summer, the temperature change is so huge that I think your tires, they get a lot flatter in the winter. So you need to fill them up.
That's true. I was only thinking about going from point A to point B. I didn't realize that it would take so much to maintain a car. Do you get frequent car washes though? Because I feel like cars here get dirty really quickly.
Sure, especially with all the dust and stuff from China.
Right.
If it rains as well one time, then your car is caked in like this dust.
Oh.
And I think people in Korea get their cars washed a lot more often than in the UK.
They're all clean here. You
Yeah.
rarely see a dirty car.
I know, I feel embarrassed to take my car out if it's dirty. But they've got a great scheme here. Like when you fill up with fuel at the garage, at the petrol station, what you call a gas station in the States, if you fill up above a certain amount, you either get a free car wash or a heavily discounted one, about 1,000 won.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And speaking of rain, when the season changes, like for the winter time, do you have to get snow tires or put snow chains on your tires, or what do you do?
It's advisable if you're going to drive in those bad weather conditions. Usually what I do is I just avoid the roads completely. I take public transport when it snows. But many people have these huge snow chains.
Okay.
I just don't understand how to fit them onto my wheels.
That's true. I'm just going to get a 4-wheel drive that has all the necessities, that have everything there that I don't have to do anything to really maintain my car.
Just point and drive.
Exactly.
Everyone, that's your wrap for today. Thank you for joining me. And next time we are going to continue to talk about car maintenance. I will see you again next time. Bye for now.